A lot of people, when they come from engineering or law or medicine to something creative, they usually say that they hated their job. I didn't. I've been calling myself a recovering perfectionist for the last 4 years. If I was still a perfectionist, I feel like I would have probably not launched 7 collections.
So what is your purpose?
To create authentically. The hard lesson that I had to learn is that not everybody's gonna like your art. And that's okay. It's giving me like chameleon vibes.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like a very retro lizard. Do you feel the therapy?
Yeah. I'm like, I'm healed.
Yeah.
Send me another non-committal man. Hi guys, I'm Dee and this is
Marlis.
and we are here because we've got a lot of purpose. Now Marlis, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Marlis D'Souza, and I'd consider myself a multidisciplinary artist. I write, I paint, I perform spoken word, and about 4 years ago, I decided to transition from an engineering career to art full-time.
That's a massive transition because what comes to my head is if I try to put one word into perspective, for me it would be loyalty. So for me, it's what keeps you loyal to your art because clearly you had to let go of a lot of things and you could have missed out on so many opportunities.
Yeah.
So what actually brings out the loyalty towards art for you or creativity?
I think it's my obsession with the craft. It's my obsession with curiosity. It's my obsession with creating and constantly uncovering things that I can make. And it's that process of creating that constantly brings me back to it.
Right.
And so I think maybe I'm just loyal to that feeling of creation. Or that kind of dopamine you get from creating.
This is a weird question. What kind of emotion did you get whilst you were doing engineering that made you want to switch over? Is it that dopamine and the happiness that this is made by me and I'm able to express my emotion? Because I've heard a lot of people go from a very serious background to going, hey, you know what, I'm going to be myself.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they come from, say, engineering or law or medicine to something creative and artistic, they usually say that they hated their job. I didn't. I actually really enjoyed engineering and I was really good at it and I was thriving in that job and in that role. But I think for me, it was having more agency and like creative control over my career and my life.
Right.
And I think because of art, it gave me that ability to just let go of any of these glass ceilings and just create some life that I could. I didn't know what the ceiling was. Like the ceiling didn't exist.
And then you see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's really inspirational because there could be millions out there that are going, hey, I really want to do this full time, but there's so many things, especially in the times that we are in now.
Yeah.
How can I even think about doing this professionally, right?
Yeah.
In your childhood, was art something that you were constantly drawn to? Is there a background story towards that?
Yes, actually. So I was considered a really nerdy kid. Like I really studied very hard.
Yeah.
But I was also a very athletic kid. I was in sports a lot in school. And then the third arm was the art. And so I was always doing art and juggling school and juggling sports. So I had my first exhibition, group exhibition in high school when I was 15, I think. And that was something that was part of the British curriculum, like GCSE course. And so I went through 3 years of doing art quite seriously in high school. And then I was one of 6 people who got an A, which is huge considering how hard it is to get that A.
It is difficult.
And yeah, so yeah.
No, I never got an A.
And in art especially, I was like, wow.
Art. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So it was a big part of who I was back then. And even my art teacher in high school, she said something to the effect a couple years ago that she was surprised that I chose to go the STEM route with engineering versus art.
Okay.
So I'm like, they saw something.
Yeah, I feel like it's always like teachers and like other professionals who are creative themselves kind of go, oh, but you'd be really good at this. Yeah. But I think the societal pressures, and coming deep for a second, but the societal pressures are massive, especially we come from a brown background, can you tell? We have this sort of stigma around, my God, my daughter's going to be an artist. And I want to ask, did you have a support system like when you were growing up?
There's one part of this conversation that I think a lot of people assume that because I come from a brown family or like an Indian family that they're like, oh, I was pressured into becoming an engineer or whatever, but I was not.
You wanted to be an engineer.
This was my own choosing. There's no engineers in my family. I think there's very few people that even have a master's degree in my family. So I really pursued that on my own accord.
Amazing.
And I wasn't pressured at all. But the pressure was there obviously to create a sustainable living financially. And so those are obviously challenges that I still face today with choosing a creative career. But these are problems that we're solving every day. So
it's a day by day sort of step. I think anyone who wants to become an artist or any kind of creative, it's a day by day thing. Take it the second it comes. And I think that's what frees us so much. Is the fact that we're not tied down by the want to constantly think about the future. We all do. Nobody doesn't not think about the future. But coming back to the future then, do you think this is something that in today's age that people should be expressing themselves to the art, or people should take it step by step?
I think expression is important in whatever way that can be. Whether that's writing, painting, singing, cooking, dancing, whatever. I think we need it more now than ever before. And predominantly because we're so tied to our devices. And for me, I feel like in the last 5 years, my devices have been my vices. And I've been trying to create ways. Actually. I've been trying to create ways to create more and consume less. And I think so much, I need that so much more now than ever. And I would, even if you're not trying to create a business and a career, you should be creating in some form.
I have actually a really good question for you. So we talk about expression and emotion, and we take it for granted that a lot of people have the ability to feel free to express and have a platform or an outsource to express other emotions. Because I've seen a lot of people in the likes of movement who have gone, yep, I use this to express myself and then inspire. Others part comes next. How would you help others find a space to be able to be themselves, actually express how they feel?
Yeah, I think that's really amazing that you said that, because I think part of what I do is I create that safe space for people to express themselves. And it's through workshops, it's through in-person experiences or online. And it's where you are just guided on how to create something. You follow the steps. So sometimes you can do it in a group or with a mentor, or you could follow tutorials online and do it by yourself. But I think the rule there is to do it without being so concerned about what the outcome is going to be. So do the thing without having to worry about it looking pretty or whatever. If you make a cake, don't worry about it tasting good.
Make it
just make it. Yeah, just make it. Follow the steps, put the ingredients together, make the thing, and then worry about it being good later. So I think you create your own safe space by first acknowledging that you may embarrass yourself, and that's okay.
And that's okay. Yeah. Oh my God. I had this conversation that people are too scared to make a fool of themselves.
Yeah, just look silly. Who cares? Nobody cares. It's fine.
Something. Yeah. I'm talking about that. Were you always just naturally gifted when it comes to art? Or do you think practice played a play?
Practice definitely makes a difference. I think it makes a difference in the confidence of creating something. I think there is inherently some magic that exists in some people, but it's not something that you can't harness. I think if you find something fascinating and you want to try it, you totally should. And again, like I said, not worry about it turning out ugly or whatever. And I've made a lot of quote unquote ugly art that I think doesn't look that great, but then I have to push myself to see how it can get better.
That leads me to, are you a perfectionist?
This is really funny that you say that too, because I've been calling myself a recovering perfectionist for the last 4 years. I'm not even lying about this, because this is the other thing. It's like the raised South Asian kind of, we were always so wired to be perfect. And so wired to get that perfect score, so wired to be the best. And I think somehow that partially is really encouraging, but that's partially also very damaging, because then we're so worried about being perfect at the thing without even trying.
Completely.
And that's not okay. And and as someone that's chosen to be an artist, taking it as something that I'm doing for my career, I've had to learn so many things, and I've had to be bad at so many things. I've had to fail at so many things. And you can't do that if you're not gonna just be imperfect at something and just put it out there. If I was still a perfectionist, I feel like I would have probably not launched 7 collections in the last 4 years. I would have not created merch. I would have not created courses. I would have not hosted workshops. I would have not spoken about my art in public spaces. I would have not performed. There's all of these things that if I was so scared of being perfect, that's
not
it.
what have happened. Yeah.
Did I embarrass myself? Yeah.
Absolutely.
But like,
that's a part of the process, though. It's like you
Yeah.
can't be scared of being imperfect. I think learning when it comes to art in itself, for me, at least, potentially I'm not the greatest. I can't draw a straight line. I couldn't tell you colors apart. Like, I'm not the kind of person. But for me, even just picking up a few paints and just putting it on a canvas, it helps regulate my nervous system so much. You've also got so many things hanging up here that I can't help but be distracted by, and I'm very inspired. Now, tell me, what is your inspiration?
My process in the last 3 years of creating art started with me writing in my journals, and this was a practice that started only fairly recently, I would say. So I would write in my journals, and then whatever those experiences were that I captured on the page, I would then create a visual art collection inspired by those words.
Right.
For example, my most recent collection is called Fear Less. So it was inspired by a page that I wrote when it was during the time of the month, and I was like, fields were all over the place. And so I was like trying to capture what fear and courage and like the concept of fear. And so that's how the Fear Less collection was birthed. And before that, there's another collection called Marlis, which is one about self-love.
Yeah.
And so that was a whole series about wanting love for the state of my mind, like my mental health, wanting love for more than just myself or for someone else.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there's all of these concepts that start from a page that I wrote. And then I start to explore a full visual collection inspired by that.
Wow, that got me really thinking deep over there for a second. I was like, wow, that's an interesting question. What is the weight of these words to you? Because I have seen so many words and short sentences that spark a thought process of my emotion in my mind coming from yours. So I find that connection to your art.
Right.
So what is the weight of these words to you?
They all hold their own weight, to be honest. And I think that they have a strong message. And I've seen a lot of artists talk about this where your art is a mirror. So just like you said, that something that you connected with in my art, it's basically a mirror. And I think that what I write has a lot of importance to me because when I'm actually writing in the process of that, it's therapeutic for me. And then when I can share it in spoken word fashion, it's almost cathartic because then it's another way of release. So there's a lot of weight for sure.
Yeah.
I try not to overthink it and give it too much weight because then that takes away, again, it brings me back to the perfectionism.
I was just saying.
So I try to just let it go and write on the page whatever kind of comes out in the moment, and also let the art speak for itself and be a sounding board and then a mirror to other people to maybe they see themselves in it. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you a very silly question.
Okay.
Right? As an artist, what's your favorite color?
It's a really good question. I feel like my favorite color has changed through the times. When I was much younger, it was purple, and then recently it's been like a teal turquoise.
Okay.
So you'll see a lot of those cool tones in my work as well. Yeah.
Okay. So teal. So I like the little cool pathway you found for yourself from purple to blue. Does that hold any emotional connect? Because coming into color psychology a little bit as an art, that hold a sort of emotional connect, do you think? At all?
Yeah, I think emotionally blue also represents like peace and serenity and calm. It's also like the ocean.
I was just gonna say that.
So I think when I started to really take my art seriously, I was in Florida. And so by the beaches a lot. So that had a big influence, I think, on beach. And like I also create a lot of like wave art. Right. Like this. So it's like waves. So I think in that way, yes, the blue has that emotional connection, but then also the physical connection to the location.
Yeah. And hence, do you think as an artist, your journey always stays with you?
Yeah. It's become part of my blueprint and my DNA, and then it just and then it just keeps growing with me. Yeah.
Okay. And that leads me to the ultimate question. Marlis, so what is your purpose?
I think answering that question of purpose is a hard one.
Yeah.
But if I was to give you a broad answer, it would be to create authentically.
Yeah.
And to create a safe space for others to create as well.
Authentically.
Yeah.
And okay, I really love that because I think you creating a space for others to feel that safe environment
Yeah.
is what drew me to you and helped me like connect with you, because you do Marlis, without just taking all of this away as a person, will help create that safe space for people to be themselves. And Marlis and I met at an event, and now Marlis knows most of my life better than any of you do. So it's very true. Was that always the case with you? Did that come with a history?
I think that I gave myself permission to create authentically and take down the layers of these like facades that I think we put on. And so yeah, I think the part where I chose to leave an engineering like corporate career, I feel like also gave me permission to create more authentically in my own voice without worrying about some other hierarchy.
I have one last question, and it's a bit more emotional. I know you love to aspire and inspire. I've seen that. Even if you're not trying to do it, you just do it normally. It comes very naturally to you, in my perspective, and everybody else's. But how would you help? Because I've had discussions recently, people have really had their walls up high. I think what I'm trying to come back to and connect is, how would you help people, not just by art, but how does one, for example, we've got another third person here. Okay, that's not about me, you know. My walls are completely down. But how would you suggest people learn to get their facades or their walls and barriers down and just authentically be themselves?
I think they can do that for themselves first in a private space. It doesn't have to be some public proclamation, and you can just do it for you.
Yeah.
And I think once you even put your guards down for yourself in a private space, then you'll start to get comfortable maybe sharing it with one other person and then another person and then potentially the public. But I think it starts with yourself. It's giving yourself the permission to feel your feels, to express yourself through whatever the medium is.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think it's just start small. Small. If it feels overwhelming, start small. Sometimes it's like the smallest thing, even if it's just like taking your paints out from the cupboard.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they're like, oh, tomorrow I need to do a whole painting. Nah. Just make the space. Just take the canvas out. Just remove the paintbrushes. Then the next day, remove the paints. Sometimes it's, if something can seem so overwhelming, you really break it down to a very small task. Yeah. And then you can build from there. So
one day at a time.
That's my advice.
I don't know why I was struggling. My head is massive.
Wait. There we go. Okay, let me tie that in the back. Yep. We got it all covered, quite literally.
What are we making?
We are going to make an acrylic pour painting that looks kind of these.
She is going to make me do the beginner level stuff that you should come do with Marlis, or just begin art. Okay?
It's beginner, but like it's also very advanced in the outcome. It's going to be very advanced, but it's very beginner friendly, but the outcome's going to look advanced.
Always what's in your mind.
Yeah. You just got to trust the
Where's
professional.
your gang coming up?
So when I was in Daytona Beach for what felt 8-something years, it's ghetto and gangster, and the inner ghetto in me will come out. If I'm around like a gangster, I'll
a
be
gangster
like
as
the
well.
gangster ghetto-ness will come
With
out.
Marlis's crib,
Oh,
Marlis's studio.
I'm so glad we're gonna cut all of that out.
Thank God.
Okay, so here, this is what you're gonna do. You're just gonna put that much paint.
Yes, we have chosen teal, yellow,
Go ahead.
and blue, because we're feeling those colors today. If I was to think about my emotions right now, I'd be in a very positive mind space, because of, like, the colors.
Right, and then it's quite simple because you're not trying to conquer a portrait or try to paint something that's really difficult. It's okay, I pour stuff, I mix stuff.
I think it's a bit more free.
So yeah, and this is what really drew me to fluid art, is like the abstract nature of it, but also the fact that it's a perfect recipe for trying to let go of perfectionism too.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand that. And that's what I kind of want to ask. How do people react to fluid art?
There's a mixture. I think there's a world of people, obviously anybody can be negative, but they think that abstract art is really easy or silly or doesn't have any rhyme or reason to it, and I get that.
Yeah.
To some degree, that could be true. I think when you create paintings that are part of a whole collection, there's a story and a purpose behind it. There's so much more to it. But on the most simplest level, I feel like abstract and fluid art is very easy and it's really accessible.
Okay.
In a way that if you've never picked up a paintbrush in your life, you can still do
You can
it.
still do it.
If
Right.
you've never, if you don't know anything about color theory, you don't know anything about paints, nothing, like you can just know the simple steps and you can make something that was enjoyable
Yeah.
to make. The actual creation process
It's so
was
fun.
fun. And you end up with something that looks cool regardless.
Yeah.
And then you give it value and you give it purpose.
Ooh, yes. Okay. So actually owning something that you don't have to put pressure on, it's just you, how you are.
Yeah.
So I think because I know there's such a stigma around abstract art as I'm like, oh, it's not even like art, bro.
Yeah. Or, oh, my 5-year-old could
I
do
can
that.
do that.
Actually, yes.
That
Your 5-year-old should do that.
Yeah.
You should.
With Marlis.
Yeah,
Like, get
you
them here for
should.
the workshop.
You should do it.
But it's the fact that you, why aren't you that?
Exactly. And I
Yeah.
think everybody's allowed to have their own moment of expression. So the thing as well with abstract art is it captures a moment in time. It captures an expression in time.
Yeah.
So regardless of if anybody else can do it, and facts, they can. But no two paintings that I've made or that anybody
Yeah.
has made in my workshops are the same.
I love that. Yeah.
So it's not even, it doesn't even have to be something super prolific. It's just make stuff and create stuff because actually the process is fun.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll just have a painting that you can hang on your wall.
And it's all about that.
And even if it's something you don't want to hang on the wall, don't hang it, but make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just do it, bro. What does a day in Marlis's life look like? Just if you was to make a painting. Yeah.
What?
Nope. No two paintings are alike and no 2 days are the same.
Yeah, I think it just depends. When I'm actually in the season of working on an art collection,
Yeah.
that day in my life looks very different when I'm not. This is like a misconception that I think people have of when you are a quote unquote full-time artist that you're just painting every day in the studio. And while that sounds like a dream, it's not the reality. And that's mainly because when you decide to create a business, there's a lot of other things that you have to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying that it's a bad thing because to my benefit, I do enjoy doing the
Yeah.
business elements like building systems, like building my website. So even now I help other artists and creatives build their
I saw
website.
that. Yes.
And so even when it comes to the marketing element, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And you have to spend time doing that stuff if you want to take it seriously.
She is an engineer.
And so that's where the engineering part comes
Yeah.
in. Yeah. And so I do enjoy the tech side of things and
Yeah.
like building systems to make my job easier or
Yeah.
using certain softwares to basically support my business.
Yeah.
Yeah, in some seasons it looks like I'm creating a lot of content, I'm editing, because I'm a one-woman show at the end of the day. Sometimes it looks like a lot of time in the studio and sometimes it's a lot of marketing, a lot of administrative stuff, which, like I said, to my benefit, I do enjoy. So.
She loves it. I think it's just every day waking up and going, even if you just sit on your laptop and you're like building your website, that's still working on your art.
Yeah.
That's an art in itself, really.
It really is. It really is. Yeah.
Because you really have to know your people, you have to know your crowd, you have to know your art. It tests how well you know yourself as well. I think using all your skills that you've got is very important as well, like when it comes to creating something. But that's what I mean. I understand abstract art because like you can make abstract art in so many forms. And I'm a Dubai kid. You're a Dubai kid?
Yeah.
Until about 15 years ago or like 10 years ago, the whole acceptance towards doing something actually different, in my perspective, was very minimal in the little circles that Dubai has.
Yeah.
Because Dubai used to be a very cliche city as to you have your friend circle who knows that one other friend circle who knows that. It's a very small city, right? Everybody knows everybody here. And in my perspective, like when I try to do body art and when I try to express through emotions, I was unfortunately met with a lot of people who did not understand it.
Yep. And I still feel a lot of people don't understand what I'm doing, but that's okay. Keep going.
Yeah, do you really?
No, do you, bro?
I'm still gonna do me though.
Exactly.
And that's okay. And I think after years on years of time now, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But you reach that point. If you are someone who's passionate about your art and passionate about what you create, keep going. They don't understand it, don't understand it. It has to make sense to you, not them. Anything to add there? Or what?
I think it was like me just not giving a fuck anymore. And even if it's like the people that don't get it, I'm like, that's fine. You don't have to get it. The people that need to get it will get it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Your art is also not made for everybody. And this is like a hard lesson that I had to learn, is that not everybody's going to like your art. And that's okay. I also learned that if you're for everybody, you're for nobody.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
you need to.
Sorry.
It's true.
Yeah, that
you know?
yeah, that went down my spine.
Yeah, because it's like that level of polarity that you have to also create with your art.
Yeah.
Not everybody's gonna like it, but that's okay. The percentage of people that are really gonna connect with it, and those are your people, your diehard fans that will support you.
And that's also in real life that works the same case.
Yeah,
People
it does.
you don't have to. Your persona doesn't have to be for everybody. You do not have to be adapted with
Yeah,
everybody.
that was a very hard lesson that I had to learn.
I understand, man. That
It
was
was-
what my
yeah.
teacher said. I look so cute.
Wait. And then you want to do some yellow?
Yeah, I do. She was not suggesting. She was begging. Please, just
Okay,
yellow.
here, let's do both together. Let's do the blue and the green
Okay.
together.
That's so fun. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, go.
Yellow. Sorry. Oh, I ruined the
No, it's okay. It's short. This is why we make a mess here. It's fine. Okay, let's do some. Somehow the magic happens. That's so fun. Just looking at the colors, even combined
like
with the cup.
The boogie.
It looks like
Oh, I love that.
it looks like a cocktail, like a pina
I would
colada.
definitely want one of these. Oh my god, this like it is. So, you come here often?
Do you feel the therapy?
Yeah, I'm like,
I'm healed.
send me another non-committal man. Sorry.
We don't need to talk about
Like,
that.
okay.
We can talk about that in our journaling session. One swirl and then pick it.
This is our baby.
Just gonna pour here. And I'm just gonna go on this corner.
That reminds me of something. I don't know what it is.
It's giving me like chameleon vibes.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like a very retro lizard. Whoa. These color choices are cool. By the way, Deepra picked them.
No, she kindly, like, gently
Nudged.
suggested, like, hey, what about this one?
You just empty the whole cup.
Oh, the whole cup?
Yes, keep going.
Do I just go random?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Fine. You
The
just go
M.
empty. Yeah,
And a D.
Okay, let me
Okay, stop.
I'm just gonna
You can tell which
Okay.
side is mine.
and so let's just add some of this.
Making it look pretty.
It already looks pretty. Okay, so now I'm just gonna pick it up and then I'm gonna tilt it to this corner to cover these corners, and then you do the same for
Okay.
that. Okay, so we pick and then whoa, look at that! It's moving.
Oh my god, this is very trippy.
It's trippy, yeah. The design is quite trippy. Okay, now you pick and you go that direction.
No. One direction.
Tilts that way. Keep going. Okay, now tilt it down towards you, and then to that corner. All right.
Shit, that's sick.
Perfecto.
Oh my god, it's really fun to just, like, what I'm feeling right now is in this painting.
What is that? How would you describe it?
Inspired, I reckon.
Yeah.
I think that for me is a big one these days. And that's why this conversation with you, because I know that you inspire people. And I think connecting with your art has helped me not only explore that emotion in myself, but also take it forward and out of here and out of this space and use it on day-to-day life.
That's so kind. Thank you for saying that.
That's a testimonial. $50.
Hey, but it was authentic, right?
Like, do I pay you? Oh my god, we had Barbie. Take me away from this painting.
I mean, so
ruin
this
it.
is the part where you can choose however long you want to play, but also sometimes less is more, and that's my rule. We bring some fire.
There's fire involved?
Yeah,
Okay, go on.
I'll walk you through it. But you see how there's like bubbles?
Yeah,
There's tiny bubbles.
there's
So
tiny
when
bits.
we're gonna use heat to encourage them to pop, and then when it pops, it's gonna create some like cells and some movement.
Okay,
So it's gonna
cool.
start to look a little bit different.
Got it. See it happening. Okay.
Yeah, and that's it.
Okay.
So now you're going to do the same.
Did that do anything?
Yeah, a little bit closer on the left. Beautiful.
That's gorgeous because that pop looks amazing.
And also now the painting's going to really just marinate. It's going to go through its own journey overnight.
Develop, yeah.
And it's going to look very different than what it looks like right now.
Okay.
And it's not going to be as glossy as you can see.
It's such a cool process because now that I'm thinking about how much effort this much takes, I can't even physically imagine of any of this.
Yeah. But these are different mediums. These are with alcohol, ink, and resin. So the process is very different.
Yeah.
I have another workshop for this style, which is like a 2-day masterclass because it's so much more in depth.
Detailed.
And the mediums are, they require a bit more technical skill than just this.
I like how I saw a little bit of engineering side to you as well, because I can see that you're like, okay, has to go upright, has to swirl a certain way, but then like, I think you letting go of your perfectionism has brought you art towards you, and that's really inspiring that you can also use that in the certain places, and so it's not like letting go of your
engineering background.
Yeah,
it's very much still here.
I still see that.
Oh yeah.
That what's the right word for it? I know the right word for it. Choreography.
Oh.
Amongst
like
the
that.
engineering and the art part of it. I really like that. I was sick. Yeah, Marlis. Killed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have done the art. I have learned so much about Marlis. Thank you for having me. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, so if you'd like to come learn how to create some fluid abstract art, come book a session with me in my studio in Dubai South, and you can find me at Artsy by M.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.